I was suddenly hit by a car on my way to a prenatal checkup. When I woke up, the baby in my womb was dead. Heartbroken, I cried all day, only to discover by chance that the accident was orchestrated by my husband. He had deliberately tampered with the brake system just to obtain the umbilical cord blood from my unborn child in order to save his ex-wife's son, who had leukemia. After their child was saved, he grew up healthy and strong. The family lived happily ever after, but my child passed away without even seeing its mother. I was left disabled from the car accident, unable to care for myself. When I went to confront them, I was humiliated, insulted, and beaten to death by the two. When I opened my eyes, I found myself reborn on the day of the prenatal checkup. This time, I gently touched my unborn child and silently swore, "Since fate has let us live, then let them die. Rena, I have something to do today. Will you be okay going to your prenatal checkup by yourself?" As soon as I opened my eyes, my husband Knox was looking at me with concern. I found myself curled up on the sofa, surrounded by soothing piano music. The heavy belly transmitted faint fetal movements, while my completely numb, disabled legs were now keeping rhythm with the kicks. But didn't I already? A glance at the calendar on the wall made me understand instantly. I was reborn, and it happened to be the day I went back for my prenatal checkup. This day would be the moment my soul descended into darkness. "What's wrong? Is the baby kicking you again?" Seeing me holding my stomach, Knox affectionately held me close and whispered in my ear, "No, I'll be fine going by myself. I'll go back to my room and pack first, thinking about everything from my past life." I felt a wave of nausea and instinctively pushed him away. On my way back to the bedroom, I took advantage of his distraction and brought his usual backpack into the room with me. After finishing packing the clothes, Knox's impatient voice could faintly be heard from the living room. "Can you stop rushing me? You're anxious, but I'm even more anxious than you are. All of Sichuan City is under my control. Where can she run to? Don't worry." In the previous life, he explained that the person who owed the debt had run away. But now I know clearly. The person on the phone was his ex-wife, Kasu. Their 8-year-old son has leukemia and wants to use the umbilical cord blood from the fetus in my womb to save his life. Knowing that I still have 2 months until my due date, I would never agree to an early C-section. They've been scheming against me in every possible way. I pushed the door open and came out. Knox-gu hurriedly stuffed the phone into his pocket and lit a cigarette. When he saw the luggage in my hand, he frowned. "Honey, why are you bringing that for your prenatal checkup?" "What? Of course. It's to guard against you, the devil." But I still explained kindly. "There are still 2 months left until the due date, so I want to visit my mom after the prenatal checkup. It'll be even more inconvenient later on." Knox-gu seemed somewhat hesitant. He stood by the window, gazing at the distant parking lot, then exhaled a large cloud of smoke after a moment. "All right then. I'll take you there." Knox-gu insisted on seeing me to the car. He placed the luggage in the trunk. As I got into the car, he gave a few instructions to the driver, Xiao. When his phone rang, it must be Kasu coming to rush him again. He left in a hurry. "Madam, please fasten your seatbelt," Master Lu reminded me with a smile. I snorted. "Is buckling up really going to keep us safe? What do you want?" "The 3 of us, you, me, and the baby in my belly, to at least look decent when we die." Master Lu was taken aback, probably not expecting me to be so blunt. He lowered his head, looking somewhat flustered and at a loss. "Madam, I know you don't mean what you say." I interrupted him. "How much did Knox pay you to harm me? I'll double it." After some investigation, I found out that Knox-gu was the one who tampered with things. "What money? To be honest with you, my wife is about to have cancer surgery, and I'm in a hurry to get home. Although I don't understand why, Mr. Gu specifically asked me to drive faster. I thought, no matter how urgent it is, I must get you and the young master to your destination safely." Master Lu came from the countryside, honest and kind-hearted. He rubbed his hands together, not seeming to be lying. Memories of the previous life involuntarily surfaced in my mind. The car lost control while turning, and Master Lu desperately pulled the handbrake, causing it to flip over and get rear-ended. He died on the spot, and I was left disabled. During the vehicle inspection, they said there was an issue with the braking system. I feel something is off because the car was just serviced a few days ago. He was also deceived by Knox Gu. While checking the accounts, I discovered that Gu gave Master Lu's wife a substantial condolence payment. So, I've always believed that Master Lu intended his death to secure money for his wife's medical treatment. But now I finally understand, Knox Gu is really something. Going so far as to sacrifice innocent people and stage a car accident just to clear himself completely. They were Knox's bodyguards. Thinking of this, I stuffed the bank card into Master Lu's pocket. There's 500,000 in here. You don't need to see me off. Go home. Your wife must need you right now. I just hope you can keep this a secret for me. Master Lu refused to accept it no matter what. I forced the bank card into his pocket and pushed him out of the car. He knocked on the car window, tears welling up in his eyes. Madam, you are a good person. You and your child will be safe and well all your lives. Yes, we will. We certainly will. I hurriedly pushed my luggage along the path, hearing rustling sounds behind me. This morning when I returned to the room, I deliberately sewed the listening device into the inner lining of the bag Knox Gu often carries. It seems my every move is under his control no matter what. They were determined to make their move today. The Gu family's influence is vast. Fleeing would be futile. As long as the wicked live, there will never be peace. I caressed my belly, soothing the unborn child I had yet to meet but already deeply cherished. In my past life, I failed to protect both you and myself, letting the villains have their way. I was suddenly hit by a car on my way to a prenatal checkup. When I woke up, the baby in my womb was dead. Heartbroken, I cried all day, only to discover by chance that the accident was orchestrated by my husband. He had deliberately tampered with the brake system just to obtain the umbilical cord blood from my unborn child in order to save his ex-wife's son, who had leukemia. After their child was saved, he grew up healthy and strong. The family lived happily ever after, but my child passed away without even seeing its mother. I was left disabled from the car accident, unable to care for myself. When I went to confront them, I was humiliated, insulted, and beaten to death by the two. When I opened my eyes, I found myself reborn on the day of the prenatal checkup. This time, I gently touched my unborn child and silently swore, "Since fate has let us live, then let them die. Rena, I have something to do today. Will you be okay going to your prenatal checkup by yourself?" As soon as I opened my eyes, my husband Knox was looking at me with concern. I found myself curled up on the sofa, surrounded by soothing piano music. The heavy belly transmitted faint fetal movements, while my completely numb, disabled legs were now keeping rhythm with the kicks. But didn't I already? A glance at the calendar on the wall made me understand instantly. I was reborn, and it happened to be the day I went back for my prenatal checkup. This day would be the moment my soul descended into darkness. What's wrong? Is the baby kicking you again? Seeing me holding my stomach, Knox affectionately held me close and whispered in my ear, "No, I'll be fine going by myself. I'll go back to my room and pack first, thinking about everything from my past life." I felt a wave of nausea and instinctively pushed him away. On my way back to the bedroom, I took advantage of his distraction and brought his usual backpack into the room with me. After finishing packing the clothes, Knox's impatient voice could faintly be heard from the living room. "Can you stop rushing me? You're anxious, but I'm even more anxious than you are. All of Sichuan City is under my control. Where can she run to? Don't worry." In the previous life, he explained that the person who owed the debt had run away. But now I know clearly. The person on the phone was his ex-wife, Kasu. Their 8-year-old son has leukemia and wants to use the umbilical cord blood from the fetus in my womb to save his life. Knowing that I still have 2 months until my due date, I would never agree to an early C-section. They've been scheming against me in every possible way. I pushed the door open and came out. Knox Gu hurriedly stuffed the phone into his pocket and lit a cigarette. When he saw the luggage in my hand, he frowned. "Honey, why are you bringing that for your prenatal checkup?" "What? Of course. It's to guard against you, the devil." But I still explained kindly. "There are still 2 months left until the due date, so I want to visit my mom after the prenatal checkup. It'll be even more inconvenient later on. Nox-Gu seemed somewhat hesitant. He stood by the window, gazing at the distant parking lot, then exhaled a large cloud of smoke after a moment. All right then. I'll take you there. Nox-Gu insisted on seeing me to the car. He placed the luggage in the trunk. As I got into the car, he gave a few instructions to the driver, Xiao. When his phone rang, it must be Kasu coming to rush him again. He left in a hurry. Madam, please fasten your seatbelt. Master Lu reminded me with a smile. I snorted. Is buckling up really going to keep us safe? What do you want? The three of us, you, me, and the baby in my belly, to at least look decent when we die. Master Lu was taken aback, probably not expecting me to be so blunt. He lowered his head, looking somewhat flustered and at a loss. Madam, I know you don't mean what you say. I interrupted him. How much did Nox pay you to harm me? I'll double it. After some investigation, I found out that Nox-Gu was the one who tampered with things. What money? To be honest with you, my wife is about to have cancer surgery, and I'm in a hurry to get home. Although I don't understand why, Mr. Gu specifically asked me to drive faster. I thought, no matter how urgent it is, I must get you and the young master to your destination safely. Master Lu came from the countryside, honest and kind-hearted. He rubbed his hands together, not seeming to be lying. Memories of the previous life involuntarily surfaced in my mind. The car lost control while turning, and Master Lu desperately pulled the handbrake, causing it to flip over and get rear-ended. He died on the spot, and I was left disabled. During the vehicle inspection, they said there was an issue with the braking system. I feel something is off because the car was just serviced a few days ago. He was also deceived by Nox-Gu. While checking the accounts, I discovered that Gu gave Master Lu's wife a substantial condolence payment. So, I've always believed that Master Lu intended his death to secure money for his wife's medical treatment. But now I finally understand, Nox-Gu is really something. Going so far as to sacrifice innocent people and stage a car accident just to clear himself completely. They were Nox's bodyguards. Thinking of this, I stuffed the bank card into Master Lu's pocket. There's 500,000 in here. You don't need to see me off. Go home. Your wife must need you right now. I just hope you can keep this a secret for me. Master Lu refused to accept it no matter what. I forced the bank card into his pocket and pushed him out of the car. He knocked on the car window, tears welling up in his eyes. Madam, you are a good person. You and your child will be safe and well all your lives. Yes, we will. We certainly will. I hurriedly pushed my luggage along the path, hearing rustling sounds behind me. This morning when I returned to the room, I deliberately sewed the listening device into the inner lining of the bag Nox-Gu often carries. It seems my every move is under his control no matter what. They were determined to make their move today. The Gu family's influence is vast. Fleeing would be futile. As long as the wicked live, there will never be peace. I caressed my belly, soothing the unborn child I had yet to meet but already deeply cherished. In my past life, I failed to protect both you and myself, letting the villains have their way. But rest assured, in this lifetime, I will definitely make them pay with their lives. I hailed a taxi and deliberately raised my voice. Driver, to the Provincial Maternal and Child Health Hospital. From the listening device came Cass's tearful voice. Inside the private consultation room, Dr. Sun looked grave after reviewing the 4D ultrasound. Miss Fu, please sit here and rest for a while. I'll be back shortly. As he spoke, he thoughtfully handed me a glass of warm water. I took a small sip after he left. I spat the water back out. Then I frantically rinsed my mouth with mineral water and poured it all onto the flowers on the balcony. In my past life, I was betrayed by those closest to me. In this life, I trust no one. I sent the secretly recorded 4D video to my biological sister. She is also an excellent obstetrician. Sis, the fetus is fine. Everything's normal. What's wrong? Sure enough, Dr. Sun had been bribed. I'll tell you when we get back. I calmly took out my earphones from my bag. Nox-Gu seemed a bit hesitant. Cass, can't we think of another way? When is the surgery? Nan can't wait any longer. Dr. Sun stammered. Mr. Gu, I saw Miss Fu drink the medicated water, But the fetus is very healthy. If we perform a cesarean section 2 months early, the baby will most likely not survive. Cass's voice was urgent. Cassie was crying so hard she could barely catch her breath. Other options? If there were other options, would I even be here begging you? Knox's voice was icy cold. Even if she loses the baby, can't she just have another one? But I can't have children anymore. Nan is my life. If anything happens to him, I won't live either. These words made me so angry that my teeth itched with hatred. Just because she can't bear children, she wants to take my child's life. I don't understand what you're hesitating about. Could it be that you feel sorry for her? The door opened and Knox guided, suggesting that Dr. Sun give me another injection. When I saw Knox go behind him, I feigned shock. Of course not. I'm just worried that forcing the issue might escalate the situation and tarnish our Gu family's reputation. But now I can't afford to care about that anymore. Dr. Sun, prepare for the surgery. Knox Gu remained composed and unruffled. After listening to their conversation, I immediately called the police. The phone had barely been hung up when the sound of footsteps echoed down the hallway. I pretended to faint and lay on the hospital bed. Rena, I also found it hard to accept when I first heard the news. I suddenly opened my eyes, startling Dr. Sun, who was holding the needle. How did you? He looked at the empty cup on the table somewhat puzzled. Turning hostile wouldn't benefit me. Buying time was the best option. I dozed off while waiting. How is the child doing now? Knox Gu's face was ashen and grim. Oh dear husband. What brings you here? Didn't you have something to attend to? Truly someone who's seen big scenes before. Knox Gu kept a stern face and was still discussing with me. He sat beside me, placing a hand on my shoulder with a face full of sorrow. Dr. Sun said the baby's condition isn't very good, so I came over immediately, seizing the opportunity. Dr. Sun quickly added, Yes, Miss Fu. I called Mr. Gu earlier because I was afraid you might not be able to handle it. The child has congenital heart disease. We strongly recommend that you consider terminating the pregnancy. What? Casa burst through the door holding a gleaming silver fruit knife. But I think, like me, you wouldn't want the baby to suffer after being born, right? Just imagining him having to live on medication, unable to engage in strenuous activities. Even running would be dangerous. It's too cruel. We can't be that selfish if it weren't for being reborn. Perhaps I would have been deceived by his strong arms and perfect acting. But now I see through his hypocrisy and feel nothing but disgust. I shook my head. Honey, isn't heart disease treatable? The Gu family is wealthy and powerful. Wouldn't it be easy to get the child a heart transplant? You know, he's been in my belly for 8 months. At first, I couldn't eat due to morning sickness, then I couldn't sleep night after night. I've suffered so much, but I endured it all. We've listened to his heartbeat together, named him, and joyfully awaited his birth. How can you really bear to give him up now? I practically spat out those last 3 words through gritted teeth. Knox Gu, why are you still wasting words with her? If she won't agree to the C-section, then I'll help her. Of course, I can't bear to. But stop it. Are the test results accurate? Could it be that the baby hasn't developed enough due to the early stage? Can't we just wait and observe a bit longer? Knox Gu stopped her. I kept reasoning with him patiently. Unexpectedly, the door suddenly slammed open. Casa struggled to no avail, then dropped to her knees with a thud, pointing the knife tip at her own throat. Knox Gu, Nan and I both have to die before you make up your mind. With that, she charged toward me. Knox Gu was moved and helped Casu up. In his eyes, Casu is a good mother. She was afraid I would cause trouble. So, she and Knox Gu pushed me down the stairs, causing me to fall to my death. But given the current situation, Knox Gu won't let her act impulsively. Her weeping was utterly heart-wrenching, pitiable to behold. I withdrew my hand that was about to pull the snap blade knife from the bag, and pretended to be frightened. Hiding behind Knox Gu, he noticed a few traces of blood on Cass's neck, but I knew she was selfish and cruel-hearted. After the 2 of them caused my child's death, I learned the truth and confronted them. She slapped me hard and mocked. My son is the eldest of the Gu, and your bastard is nothing more than a vessel to prolong my son's life. Rena, be good. We really can't keep this child. We can have another one. Nox Jew tensed up in pain, but still didn't let go. He gave Dr. Sun a meaningful look. Seeing this, Kasu also stood up to help. Honey, what is she saying? I pointed at Nox Gu, but he forced me to have a C-section. A bit flustered, he grabbed my wrist and said. Nox Gu pointed at my stomach and laughed. That's my flesh and blood, too. How could I force you to have a C-section? No, I don't agree. I bit his hand with all my strength. I then turned and pointed at Kasu. Don't just stand there. Hurry up. Kasu was terribly wronged. Several people held me down firmly. Just as the sedative was about to be injected, the police arrived barefoot. I ran to them, pointing at the people inside the room with tears and sobs. It was them who wanted to murder me and the child in my womb. Rina Fu, how can you make such baseless accusations? I was just desperate to save my son, and wanted to ask Nox Gu, his biological father, for help inside the police station. The officer from the forensics department handed me the test results. Ms. Fu, the residual liquid in the cup wasn't a sedative. It was a calming and soothing medication. Dr. Sun said that water wasn't for you. But we can't tell if it's true or not. Nox Gu said with a dark expression. Rina, since you already know, why are you still pretending? Rina, I was wrong to deceive you, but Nan Nan really needs the umbilical cord blood. Can you please stop being so stubborn? I pointed at Dr. Sun. They were in cahoots, saying my baby had congenital heart disease and suggested I terminate the pregnancy. But I consulted relevant professionals, and my child is perfectly healthy. Dr. Sun pondered for a moment. Ms. Fu, if you suspect there's an issue with my diagnosis, you're welcome to request a re-examination. There's no need to involve the police. I looked straight into Nox Gu's eyes. What about her? Charging into the ward with a knife trying to kill me. There's nothing I want that I can't get. You have no choice. Rina Fu, don't force me to take drastic measures. She pointed at her own neck, and clearly, this knife was aimed at herself. Okay. The three of them gave consistent statements corroborating each other's accounts as if I were the one with paranoia. After leaving the police station, everyone got into the car and left. Nox, you know I love you deeply and would do anything for you. Why didn't you just say so earlier? Why go through all this trouble? The one pretending is you, isn't it? He furrowed his brows and lowered his voice. Nox Gu didn't expect me to agree so readily. It's just one unborn child. If you want, we can have 10 more. Like hell I would. How utterly despicable that sounds. Life exists both before and after birth. Henan has seen the vast world for 8 years. Yet the child in my womb was killed by them before even getting to see its own mother. Nox Gu immediately agreed to my conditions. What if I disagree? His gaze was as deep as a pool, his voice icy and piercing. He booked the flight tickets overnight and took me, heavily pregnant, along with Kasu and her child onto the plane. He whispered to Kasu, since we've come this far, then don't blame me. I instantly switched to a smiling face and hooked my arm through his. Kasu patted the weak man to comfort him. You're right. It's not like we can't have another child. I promise you, I'll give Nan Nan the umbilical cord blood. But you have to agree to one condition. Nox Gu immediately bought 2 villas. Name your condition. A villa, a luxury car. It's all within reach. She frowned. But are you really willing to have a C-section 2 months early? I looked troubled. What if I'm unwilling? But Nan is also your son. My condition is also simple. I don't trust domestic doctors. I want to go abroad to seek foreign specialists. Above is the chat record between him and Kasu. I wasn't wrong in saying that foreign countries are always more advanced in such unconventional technologies. Kasu Nox, after collecting the umbilical cord blood, will remarry no matter how much she objects. Nox Gewer, to save Nan Nan, why would I have agreed to a fake divorce with you and married her inside the cabin? Gu Wen Nan, wearing a mask and physically exhausted, looked at me with eyes full of hostility. No wonder Kasu said my child was just a vessel for saving someone. Mom, what if she changes her mind? I'm so scared of dying abroad. Back then when they argued, Nox Gu wanted to provoke her by pursuing me under the pretense of being single. Don't worry. If she dares to play tricks, your father will make her and the bastard in her womb accompany you in death. I closed my eyes with a cold smile, gently stroking my belly. Oh my baby, They probably still don't know. The moment they boarded that plane, their lives were already counting down. The plane landed in Chicago. It seems Noxgu agreed to let me come abroad because he didn't want me to go back. To prevent me from slipping away, he had over 20 bodyguards protect me outside the villa. At night, while he was taking a shower, I managed to get hold of his phone. Noxgu firmly disagreed, fearing that if any mistakes occurred, the plan would be ruined. Nox's arm instantly got goosebumps. Although Noxgu was unwilling, he agreed out of fear that I would make a scene. Noxgu was getting a bit impatient. Noxgu knows I have a biological sister living abroad. Using his father's death less than 3 years prior as an excuse, he refused to hold a wedding for me. After finding out I was pregnant, he suddenly disappeared. Not long after, he confessed he wasn't actually divorced yet. For the sake of our child, I accompanied him to finalize his divorce and then married him. It turned out that Nan had already been diagnosed with leukemia at that time. Keep scrolling down. She won't have the chance to make a fuss anymore. Didn't she want to come abroad? Then let her stay here forever. I dreamed that Noxgu tampered with the brakes and caused you to have a sudden car accident. I smirked and changed the expert appointment he had scheduled to my brother-in-law Chi's number. Then I sent a message to my younger sister Fu Rang. Are you ready? My sister replied quickly, sis, let's do this. My dimly lit phone screen reflected my faint smile. Good. The show is about to begin. Casa breathed a sigh of relief, linked arms with Noxgu, and sneered. Guwan's condition has worsened. The surgery was moved up a few days ahead of schedule. I suggested going out for a walk. Rina Fu really loves you, but her brain isn't quite up to par. You're quite heartless too. How could you not even feel sorry for her? I pouted with a grievance. I want to buy some clothes for the baby. His expression remained unchanged. With a tearful voice, I stroked my belly. If the baby really couldn't stay and left, how heartbroken he would be knowing his father wouldn't even spare him a piece of clothing. What if he comes looking for you later? I whispered while blowing gently behind his ear. Casu was uneasy about the bodyguard and gritted his teeth as he instructed Noxgu. He looked visibly uncomfortable. Didn't the experts say that giving specific medication 2 months premature would stimulate cell growth, and the baby would survive healthily? I sneered as if such a miracle drug really existed. What mother wouldn't want to deliver her child as soon as possible? But it was just my brother-in-law making things up. Perhaps fearing I might change my mind midway, he picked up the clothes and called all the bodyguards in. It's just a piece of clothing for the Gu family. Buying an entire mall is as easy as turning over a hand. We should have left long ago. Keep an eye on Rina Fu. Once we get the umbilical cord blood, everything will be over inside the mall. Even though I was pregnant, I still managed to shop for over an hour. Noxgu went crazy. I smiled, shaking his arm playfully and cooed. Just one last thing, then we'll go home. Holding a maternity outfit, I headed into the fitting room under his weary gaze. Sis. It's been 10 years. I've missed you so much. As soon as I entered, my younger sister, Fu R, hugged me tightly in the cramped fitting room. The mirror reflected 2 identical faces, except one had a pregnant belly, and the other didn't. That's right. My sister Fu R and I are twins. No one can tell us apart except for our parents. Plus, Fu R is easygoing and plump, making her look exactly like me during my pregnancy. But Casu cried and screamed, urging Noxgu to find someone. I never told him that we look exactly alike. Didn't he secretly switch my baby in his previous life? Well, in this life, I'll pay him back in his own coin. Aren't you the least bit suspicious about my reincarnation? Fu'er quickly applied my makeup and tied the fake pregnancy belly around her waist. Sis, on the day you died, I had a dream. Noxju had no choice but to tell everything. They weren't in a hurry to operate on your bloodied body, but instead rushed to perform a C-section to take the baby first. Later, you couldn't move an inch in your wheelchair, and that despicable couple pushed you down the stairs. Your blood and your nephew's blood stained the entire dream red. We were all crying, but they were laughing. Fu'er gritted her teeth. That scumbag and those murderers, they deserved to die. But I was still somewhat worried about her and Chihi. Fu'er held my hand. Sis, we're not afraid. In America, anything done for freedom can be understood. Noxgeo was dumbfounded. He slumped to the ground, his face ashen. The day of the surgery, I was pushed into the delivery room. Cassie slapped Nox's guard across the face. Nox Jew, can't you do anything right? She's just a plaything. How could she compare to you? The nurse said Nan's nosebleed wouldn't stop, and she needed to enter the isolation ward immediately. Nan has already been admitted to the isolation ward. If Rena Fu can't be found, he won't make it. He won't make it. Nox Gue, covering his swollen red face, anxiously grabbed the police officer. Before entering the warehouse, she encouraged Gyu went on. Don't worry, son. Mom and Dad will be waiting for you when you come out. But what no one expected was the me who had been in the delivery room about to undergo a cesarean section suddenly vanished from the operating table. Nox Gyud could tear the floor of the delivery room apart. He frantically rummaged through the operating room, cursing loudly. The bodyguards immediately checked the surveillance footage at the entrance, but aside from a few masked nurses coming in and out, no pregnant woman had exited with bloodshot eyes. He roared at the hospital director. Where is the person? How could a living person just vanish? The director couldn't understand what madness he was spouting and directly called the police. This surgery was originally a cross-departmental private procedure, and he had promised the specialist to keep it confidential. Officially, it was declared as a normal bone marrow donation, but in reality, it was an umbilical cord blood treatment. Nuxgu and Kasu were arguing fiercely. Nuxgu was growing impatient. The dean mumbled something, and the interpreter explained. The dean says the expert you mentioned went abroad for further study yesterday. Even at her worst, Rena Fu wouldn't be as shrewish as you. Then who was the one who kept in touch with me and promised the surgery? Kasu was so angry that she started fighting with him. A loud slap was heard, and Kasu burst into tears. Making an appointment with the wrong doctor is one thing. But how could you lose such a big living person even as the police pulled her away? She continued to shout at the top of her lungs. Nuxgu, are you even human? How dare you hit me? Nuxgu did not respond for a long time. My wife has inexplicably disappeared in this hospital, and she's pregnant. Please help me find her quickly. The officers conducted a thorough search of every department, but found nothing. Rena Fu, you're listening, right? Playing with me, huh? You're something else. But they didn't know. After entering the operating room, Fuar took off the fake pregnancy belly, changed into a nurse's uniform, and swaggered out. She just came in and was complaining to me about how unbearably stuffy the fake pregnancy belly was. Soon after, her brother-in-law Chihi also returned carrying several bags of groceries. He tossed the snapped phone card into the trash and rolled up his sleeves to start preparing the vegetables. Aren't you craving hot pot, sis? Let's have it for lunch. But what about Nuxgu? He'll do anything to find us. I'm afraid he might harm you and my nephew. This kind of surgery was unethical to begin with, so the police couldn't do anything about it since I couldn't go out easily. Fuar took a long leave to stay with me. Weeks passed and everything was fine on my end. On the other hand, from the bug, Kasu fainted on the spot. It's all your fault for insisting on coming to America just because she said so. It's been a week now, and we still can't find her. What about Nan Nan? And you call yourself the CEO of Gu Corporation? How could you mess up something so simple? Aren't you ashamed? Knox. Gu shattered the door glass with a single punch. Can you stop dawdling? Who knows how she just vanished into thin air, embarrassing me. Isn't it more embarrassing the way you're making such a scene? Sis, all the hospitals are under his control. And I heard Knox Gu has already searched the next street. It's only a matter of a day or two. The landline in the room rang. It was Knox Gu. Stop being crazy, will you? Is Rena Fu your twin sister? You two are doing a great job with this body swap, aren't you, Knox Gu? If your conscience has been eaten by a dog, go ask the dog for it back. Okay, now you remember how good she was. Ha. Fine. Then go find her and bring her back. Revive my son, and I'll make room for you too. Knox Gu's voice trembled. Moments later, the sound of fabric tearing could be heard. A wiretap, he sneered, his voice dripping with malice into the microphone. Fu Rang followed the words I had written, each sentence striking directly at Knox Gu's main artery. Do you want to find out what happens when you mess with me? I know you haven't gone back to your country. You're due in just over a month. Right. Hide well. Give birth in secret. Just make sure I never find you. There was a sharp, piercing sound of static immediately after. Fu Reng covered her ears and frowned. Sis, Gu Wennan probably won't last a month. Dragging him to death won't be a problem. In the scene, Nox, Gu and Casu surrounded the outside of my courtyard with over a dozen bodyguards. I glanced at the gun on the wall and smiled. See, didn't he bring this upon himself? Casu cursed loudly, trying to provoke me into coming out. 3 days before the due date, Guwen died. It was Cha who found out at the hospital. I heard that when he died, his nose kept bleeding, and he weakly cried out, "I don't believe in you anymore." Casu was so angry she was panting, gasping for breath. Casu spoke sarcastically. Fu Rongrang helped me prepare the essentials for childbirth. Nox Jiu pouted. Perhaps afraid I'd worry. She picked up a tiny outfit and held it against my belly. But don't you worry, sweetheart. Auntie will protect you and Mommy even if it costs me this old life of mine. We had barely finished speaking. They're just trying to scare us with their fear. Shooting. Does Rina Fu even have the guts? His voice was hoarse. If you take Rina Fu back with you today, I'll buy each of you a villa. Tell me where you live. I know this was all her idea. And I don't blame you, but she killed my son, and I want to ask her face to face. Fuar sneered. Don't blame me. Who the hell do you think you are? I haven't even asked you why you killed my nephew. And you have the nerve to question me. But they didn't notice that Nox Guli pulled Casa back a few steps. Maybe they really do have pistols. Rina Fu wouldn't dare, but her brother-in-law is hard to say. If a fight really breaks out later, we should stand further away. Do you believe the Gu family will make you? Shut the hell up already. If it weren't for the Gu family patriarch leaving the family fortune to you, you'd be nothing with your narrow-mindedness and twisted values. You're truly a disgrace to the Gu. Casa's eyes gleamed. You're right. You're quite thoughtful. He hated nothing more than being told he was worthless and only relied on the Gu. Fine, then prepare to attend my son's funeral. Fuar spat out. Come on, you idiot. The call ended. Fuar went to check the surveillance cameras installed outside the courtyard again. She clapped her hands. Sis, not a single blind spot within a 100 radius, 360 degrees coverage. Even so, my sister and brother-in-law still took turns keeping watch. The night before my due date, they arrived. Nox, Ju, and Casu were stunned when they saw more than 10 people drop dead in an instant. The baby was restless in my belly, and I couldn't sleep well, so I went to the living room under the dim moonlight. The lights in the house remained off. Fuar, Gr, and Chihi, seeing me come out, made a shushing gesture and simultaneously pointed at the surveillance monitor. Casu completely lost the imposing manner he had just moments ago. They wore sunglasses and were bundled up tightly. Then a few people broke the door lock and came in. The door was banged loudly by them. Chihi glanced at me and Fuar asking, "Who is it here to take my wife home?" I responded, "I don't want to go back with you. Just leave. I was wrong. Rina Fu, please spare me. I just lost my son and lost my mind. I beg you, don't kill me. You damn __. You killed my son and still think you can live in peace. Come out now or we're coming in." From a young age, Fuar never let anyone win in an argument. With a loud voice, she would roll up her sleeves and start hurling insults from a distance, and they were filthy. Oh wow. You're out late at night with someone else's husband, calling other women, __. Aren't you just pathetic? What the hell are you barking about? Your son deserved to die. Go ask the king of hell why. Nox Gu tried to stay calm as he stood up. You're the one who deserves to die. You're the one who should die. What are you standing there like an idiot for? Break down the door. Drag them out. That foul-mouthed. I'll slap her to death. The door was violently slammed. We turned on the recording while shouting toward the outside. We've got guns. Don't throw your life away. A bodyguard seemed hesitant. President Gu, this is breaking in to kidnap someone. Rina, we were wrong. Let the two of us go. And I won't pursue the deaths of those people. If you're scared, then get lost, you useless piece of trash. Besides, Rina, if you kill me, the child in your womb will have no father. Cassis seemed to have found a loophole. She stood up, pushed Noxgu forward, and muttered under her breath. Noxgu thought I didn't hear him. He stood up and walked away while discussing me. The bodyguard's eyes lit up, instantly energized by the encouragement. They banged on the door loudly. Noxgu's face instantly turned livid. While the two were checking on me, Casa quickly got into the car and slipped away. In the twilight's afterglow, the person lying on the ground turned out to be Casu. Chihi carefully took the gun off the wall. As he wiped the barrel, he muttered, "Thoughtful my ass. This is a shotgun. One blast can take out 8 or 10 of them. Let them try to come in. I'll turn them into minced meat." Seeing they wouldn't listen to reason, we had no choice but to grab our guns and stare sternly into the camera. We were sound asleep when someone started banging on the door like crazy, threatening to kill us. I didn't want to resort to this, but for self-defense, I had no choice. After a fierce impact, the door swung open. Several people rushed in instantly. The gun in Chi's hand fired with a loud bang. Under the dim yellow light, sparks flew everywhere. Several bodyguards were blasted far away, instantly collapsing motionless on the ground. The few who rushed in afterward didn't even have time to react before they all fell to the ground with a single gunshot. The beige floor was smeared with blood and flesh, a gruesome sea of crimson. On the day I returned to the country, Fuar accused Casu of trespassing into a private residence. They both collapsed to the ground in unison. Chihi blew on the smoking barrel of his gun and handed it to me. "Sis, these 2 main courses are for you." But without the support of Noxgu, she was living a precarious existence. When disaster strikes, who isn't afraid of death? After I pointed the gun at the 2 of them, they both backed away. She knelt on the ground with a tearful voice. "Let's forget about Nan's matter. Can we just call it even?" He watched me clutching my stomach, his voice trembling. I remained silent. "She won't have the heart to hurt you. Go grab the gun. Let's talk things out properly. Put the gun down. I know you can't bear to shoot me." Just as he thought he was about to succeed, I pulled the trigger. Bang. Indeed, the closer, the more accurate. Under the moonlight, he lay twisted on the ground, dead in an instant. The recoil from the gun sent me staggering. But luckily, Chihi caught me. A sharp pain shot through my abdomen. Fuar picked up the gun to chase after her, but Chihi called out to stop her. "Don't worry about her now. Let's get my sister to the hospital first. The baby's coming." The baby arrived a night early. It's a boy. My younger sister and her husband delivered the baby. Like me, he is very healthy and lively. I didn't give him the name we had previously agreed upon. Instead, I called him Fu Xinxing. He is a new life, and so am I. The police waited outside the delivery room. My sister Fu Rongrang handled all the communication with the police. From the surveillance footage and the accounts of several neighbors who witnessed the incident, it was clear that a large group of them had forcibly entered our home. Our counteraction was justified. In the United States, there's absolutely no problem with shooting and killing a burglar. After seeing the police off, Fu Rang still felt somewhat displeased. What a shame letting that woman get away. I patted her shoulder to comfort her. I believe the heavens keeping her alive will make her suffer more than death, because the child needed to be registered after birth. I didn't stay long and returned to the country. Before boarding the plane, both Fu Rang and I were wiping away tears. "We've caused you so much worry and even made you move homes. When are you coming back to China? I'll treat you and your brother-in-law to a meal." Fuar looked helpless. "Sis, we've just settled down here. I'm not sure what we could do if we went back. Mom is getting older, too. I want to earn more money for a few more years before going back." She placed the longevity lock around the newborn's neck, teasing him, "Little one. Make lots of money in the future. Your auntie is counting on you to support her." I waved the baby's tiny hand and said in a playful voice, "No problem, auntie. I'll do my best." Fu Rgr held me and sobbed for a long time, finally expressing some concern. "Sis, you killed the Gu family's only son. They'll definitely make things difficult for you. Maybe we should call the police now. Have them meet you at the airport, and request additional officers for full protection." "No need." I looked down at the newborn in my arms and smiled calmly. Having just him to protect is enough. He is the only bloodline of the Gu. What am I afraid of? Things went much more smoothly than I had imagined. Although the elders of the Gu family were deeply grieved after learning the facts, they realized that no matter how much they struggled, the family property would all belong to the newborn. So they simply turned a blind eye. I patted the little one. It seems your aunt didn't place her hopes in the wrong person. Within a few months, Fu Rang and Qihe moved their entire family back to China. Both of them had all the necessary certificates and qualifications in order. I bought them a villa and opened a private maternity hospital for them. On my mom's birthday, I took the newborn to the hospital to pick them both up. On the way back, they were laughing and playing with the newborn, full of joy, passing by the square. A group of elderly people were dancing to square music. Hearing the music, the newborn couldn't help but wiggle and dance in my arms. Nephew likes it. Let's go up and take a look. Just as we stepped onto the stairs, a figure rushed towards me. Fu Rang quickly pulled me aside. That person tumbled and rolled down the steps. And as luck would have it, a car was speeding by. The onlookers gasped in shock. We all rushed downstairs. Her face turned pale. She convulsed a few times and then fainted. The leg was crushed and had already become deformed. It looks very similar to my previous life. She spent a fortune to avoid litigation and returned home smoothly. Today she happened to run into me, and seeing our family happy and harmonious, wanted to perish together with me. The driver hurriedly got out of the car to call the police and an ambulance. Later I heard she became disabled, unable to take care of herself, and had to rely on a wheelchair every day. Sometime after that, I saw her once more. On the day of the family photo, she was hunched over, struggling to pick up trash. Passers-by pointed and whispered. She used to be quite the glamorous figure, but later I heard she faked a divorce with her ex-husband to save their child with leukemia, tricked another girl into getting pregnant, and had the girl undergo a premature C-section to extract umbilical cord blood. In the end, her son didn't survive, her husband died, and now she's ended up like this. Well, she certainly brought it upon herself. So you see, people must keep their hearts in the right place, or heaven will surely repay them for their misdeeds. I lift my head. The sky is azure. Thank you, dear heavens, for granting me rebirth.